Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today, we're going to be reviewing RWBY Volume 6, Chapter 7, The Grim Reaper. And it's kind of already hard to believe that we're halfway through the volume, but hey, it's like they say, time flies when you're having fun. And it really feels like this volume has sped by. I mean, it really does. But anyways, sit back, relax. I hope you all enjoy. Let's go ahead and get started. So we start off this chapter with Neo, and she's looking at the gateway that Cinder can't open because the Spring Maiden has to open. And Cinder has told Neo the entire story. Now, it's kind of funny because this has led me to believe that this entire time, maybe Cinder has been staying here while she's been waiting to get the information on RWBY and her group's whereabouts. But hey, that's just a thought. And another thing that actually struck me a bit here, I noticed something. Where's Vernal's corpse? You would think it would still be down there. It's kind of strange that it's gone, something I noticed. But anyways, so Cinder herself, she's actually talking to Neo. And she basically has summed up everything to Neo and told her the importance of the relics. And it seems that she's told Neo about Salem, so she may have told her about those plans as well, maybe not. It's just a thought, because I'm thinking that she may have actually told Neo everything. And if you think about it, it would make sense considering that, one, Neo has worked alongside Cinder one time before, and two, it would make sense to try to convince Neo to work with her, because she's going to have to tell her the truth about everything. So I don't think she really kept anything from Neo here, but there could be the slight chance that she didn't tell her everything. But maybe just enough to try to convince Neo to work alongside her again. And you can really tell that Neo is thinking about this on what the next move is to be, and I like seeing that about Neo. And, of course, Cinder tells her that, hey, you know what? I can't kill RWBY because Salem has instructed me not to, but it doesn't have anything against you not being able to do this. Now, to me, this is a pretty good tactic on Cinder's part. Cinder has always been a smart character. She's been someone to make plans, and if one plan failed in the past, she would plan around it to make sure that that next plan would actually proceed and work. So, I'm glad to see that they've made Cinder seem like her old self from volumes 1 through 3, and that she is strategic, she's got tactics, and that she can work around the orders that she's been given. And by having Neo be the one to actually kill RWBY, then it wouldn't make Cinder look like in Salem's eyes that she's the one who killed her. And besides, it would be Neo that'd be doing it. And yes, while it would be under Cinder's orders, it wouldn't be Cinder directly killing her. It would be Neo. So I like that. I like that plan. And to see that Neo is actually in agreement. So Neo thought about it, and she agrees. I like this because it falls in line with Neo's revenge upon RWBY. I also like this because it shows the strategic side behind Cinder again. And what I also like here is that I like seeing, personally, Neo and Cinder teaming up. I've always thought this was a really good idea. And to finally see it happen and see where they go with this, I'm excited for it personally. I do want to see what they plan to do here with these two characters and their new team up. I think it'll be interesting. And Jessica Nagiri, she's doing great on the voice acting for Cinder. I really do enjoy her voice acting in this volume. It's been great in my opinion. But now looking at what happened next was we got the flashback of Maria Calavera. And I got some Samurai Jack vibes. If anybody remembers the Scotsman episode, I was getting some big vibes of this bridge, of that. And I love that episode. But this reminded me entirely of that when Maria is walking past the bridge. I just felt some good old Samurai Jack vibes coming from that. I kind of liked it, really. It's almost as if they took the idea from that. And so Maria Calavera's design when she was younger, I actually do like it a lot. The whole skull and Calavera in Spanish translating to skull, I really like the idea there. And I like that one of her scythes was actually her staff that she walks with currently now in the present time. I like that. So, as we see Maria walking across the bridge, we notice that there is a Nevermore that flies at her, and she prepares to actually do battle with this Nevermore. Now, the way she fights the Nevermore was very interesting with her scythes, using dust to actually have the two scythes be able to kind of have like a magnetic pull to one another. I like seeing that. That's actually a really cool idea to actually do with the scythes. And as she takes down the Nevermore into the canyon, next thing she thinks is, oh, well, it's over, he's down. And, well, not so much. The Nevermore then attacks at Maria, and she actually gets hit by one of the wings, and this is very important. So keep in mind the hit that she took from the Nevermore. And so, because she couldn't get to her weapon, she then uses her silver eyes to actually freeze the Nevermore. And so, it's very reminiscent of the event of what happened with the Grimm Dragon, but instead of us seeing those spiraling kind of flashes that came out, it was just like a nuke practically. It was as if the area just got nuked. It was kind of funny because it's like you could say, oh yeah, Silver Eyes just nuked a Grimm. Alright, well, that worked out. And so after the whole Silver Eyes nuke goes off, you see that the Nevermore is frozen in place. And it's just like the situation with the Grimm Dragon. So we've seen with the Apathy and the Grimm Dragon, for examples, two different effects. One, we did get to see the freezing of the dragon and the Nevermore within the splashback, and the Apathy getting completely obliterated away. So it shows you that the Silver Eyes can do more than one thing, and keep that in mind for the future and what's to come. But anyways, so after Maria had got done with the Nevermore, it falls and crumbles and just falls to pieces basically. She's then surrounded by some men with weapons, and you can tell that they are ready to jump her. They're ready to just team up and take her down. Well, turns out they're all grouped together, and they actually have someone that is leading them to actually take down Maria. And that is Talk. And she is the leader of this group that's actually here to take down Maria. And so she states that she was hired to actually eliminate Maria because of her silver eyes. Now, I don't think that this is Salem, who is her boss, that hired her to take down Maria, and I don't think that would make sense because Salem herself, she actually wants Ruby, who has silver eyes, for some reason, which is still yet to be explained, but I don't think she would be the one who would have hired Talk. I think it just may have been some random individual to ask for somebody to eliminate Maria because of her silver eyes. And Maria asked, "Do you know who I am?" And Talk very well knows who Maria actually is, and she tells her that she has 60 seconds and then her life will be over. So these are supposedly the last 60 seconds of her life. And so Maria starts to fight off against Talk and all of her minions. And so the reason why Talk uses this stopwatch and gives them 60 seconds is because one of the animators actually stated that Talk has the ability of invulnerability. So her semblance is invulnerability. That's what those 60 seconds represent. So she basically can't die during those 60 seconds. That's pretty overpowered if you had to ask me. So continuing onward, Maria beats each of Talk's group, and then Talk is the only one left. And as they continue to fight, Talk has strong jaws, and so her jaws actually cut the scythe in half so that the scythe won't be connected. And by this time, after the attacks, Maria has already had her aura drop, so she's vulnerable to any severe damage. Then Talk headbutts and breaks Maria's skull mask that she was wearing to conceal her eyes, and then the big event happens. Maria loses her eyes when Talk takes her blade and slashes right through them. Talk then states that because Maria lost her eyes, that was the only reason why she was hired to kill Maria, and that if Maria does something to make Talk change her mind on killing Maria, then she'll let her live. Well, Maria continues to fight back, and Talk is dodging because Maria can't see, she's blind, and so then, as Talk is getting ready to go in for the finishing blow, Maria uses her scythe to stab into Talk's back, and then uses the other scythe to end it. She decapitates her. And the thing here is, Maria losing her eyes completely stopped her from continuing to be a huntress because, well, she couldn't see. That's the biggest thing. But also the other problem is, she couldn't use her abilities on Grimm anymore. And so, when it comes back to the present time, it shows that this is still something that was a big conflict that Maria still deals with to this very day, that she lost her eyes, and that because of this she feels like she failed everyone in the world, because as a huntress she believed she was supposed to protect the people, and instead, because she lost her eyes, and she was also known as the Grim Reaper, which was apparently a legend, that's a thing that then caused her to just give up on everything and become a recluse so that she could protect her own life. One thing we learned about this is that Crow himself actually looked up to Maria, that he based his own scythe off of Maria's scythes, and that he wanted to be just like her. I kind of like this because when you think about it, somebody is an inspiration to someone else. It's like in the world itself, you will find someone that inspires you. You will find somebody that has inspired you to do whatever you want to do in life. You will look up to a person and think, hey, this person made me really want to become this in life, or that. And I like that we get to hear that Crow himself even had an inspiration at one time. Now that's actually something very interesting to me. It's something we learned about Crow, and it's something I really liked. And Maria then states that she was nothing but a failure, though, and that Crow will be along his way to become a failure as well if he follows down the path of Maria, which is really sad because it shows she beats herself up because she wanted to protect people, and losing her silver eyes made her lose faith in herself, and it made her feel like she failed in the eyes of people that she wanted to protect. It's actually sad, but she does make an interesting statement that everyone here is very strong for just younger kids, and that there are some even stronger than her in this group. And it's funny because she looks at Yang, and it's like a nod to Yang here. It's interesting to say the least. I mean, maybe it's because of Yang's snappy remarks towards Maria in the past. I don't know. It's something. But then we have RWBY ask Maria if she wouldn't mind helping her learn how to use her silver eyes, training her in the ways to use them. This is good. This is character development that RWBY has been needing. So I'm very glad that they have really given her character more attention in this volume, that they're really making her who she once was again. It feels great to see RWBY, the main character, get attention again. And so, as Maria may answer RWBY, she then gets a call, and it's Jean. And Jean has been telling RWBY about how he'd been trying to get a signal and trying to get a hold of her ever since they were in Argus, to see how long they may take to actually get there. Now, I did notice something that was actually very funny. When RWBY actually looks at her scroll, Jean actually goes under the name in RWBY's scroll as Vomit Boy. So she inputted as Vomit Boy Grimm. This is a good reference back to Volume 1, whenever Yang called him Vomit Boy after he threw up on the ship on the way to Beacon. Now, I like that reference. It was actually kind of funny. That actually kind of made me laugh a little bit because I was like, oh wow, I was like, that's a throwback to Volume 1. That's actually pretty hilarious. So I like that. That was actually a good throwback. And so they finally realized, because of Jean's call, that yes, they are finally in Argus. So once they make it up the hill, they see Argus and the walls to Argus. It's actually pretty interesting. It's cool. It's colorful. I like the way it looks. We go from this winter setting to this lively looking setting here of the city, and I really actually enjoy the setting change here. It's a good change from the winter setting we had to the city look, and I really like that they're changing up the setting a bit. That's a plus. That's definitely a positive. And another thing I gotta say is every scene that Nora has been in, I enjoy it. I just love Nora's character. She is always a breath of fresh air to watch because she brings the comedy. And this is where the tone in this chapter actually starts to be more comedic and kind of softens up from the dark vibes we had been getting in the tone as of recent. So it's starting to become a softer tone at this point, a more light tone. And that's because everybody's been reunited. So it's good to see everybody back together, though. It's good to see Juniper back here again. I'm glad to see them again because obviously they were going to reunite at some point, so it's good to see them back. And then we actually get a little bit of lore in this chapter, and I actually really did like that, and it was actually about Argus. And it was about how Argus was originally founded by settlers from Mistral, and that they struggled with the local climate. and an influx of settlers from the kingdom of Mantle had resulted in a strong trading link between the two kingdoms, with Mantle and later Atlas providing technical support in exchange for local resources that were unavailable from Solitas. And while Argus is still a city that is a part of Mistral, the city is so important to the Elysian kingdom that they keep a military presence to help protect the city from any harm. But due to Atlas actually closing off its borders, the trade is kinda, well, at an issue now. So that was brought up, and that was good to hear that that was actually brought up by Lyran and Nora when it comes to the lore and the whole thing of the trade having some issues there. So that was good. At least we got some lore. It's information about Argus. It's good. Good to have that. So the next bit we get is more comedy. We get to find out about Jean's sister because they had been questioning where Team Ranger had been staying the entire time while they were here in Argus, because nobody even knew that Jean had a family member actually in Argus, and that's where Jean, Nora, and Lyran had been staying while Team RWBY was trying to catch up to make it to Argus. So that's something, and so the family member turns out to be Jean's sister, Saffron. And so this is the first time we've met any of his sisters. Now, we have heard of his sisters. It was briefly mentioned that he had 7 other sisters back in Volume 2, whenever he talked to Pierre about how he learned to dance. And the relationship between Saffron and Jean is really brother and sisterly. It's them goofing off with each other and kind of messing around. It's kind of how siblings are, they irritate each other sometimes, mess around with one another, but at the end of the day, they're still family. They still love one another. And then we are also introduced to Saffron's wife, who is Terracotta, and she is a technician for the relay tower. And the thing that I want to mention here, because with Saffron and Terracotta, there isn't really a big deal at the moment. There is another thing I'll mention about Terracotta in a moment, but this one specifically I want to bring up. So before Volume 6, it was actually asked if there would be LGBTQ representation, and Terracotta and Saffron are the representation. Barbara Dunkelman even stated herself that look out for it because there will be representation in Volume 6. This is the representation, and it goes back to what Monty stated after Volume 1. He had stated that eventually he wanted to appeal to the LGBTQ community because he wanted characters to grow into figuring out themselves as characters, and that certain characters may turn out to be LGBTQ eventually. So it's good to see that there was some representation out there. So that's a good thing. So Terracotta asked Crow if it's legal to actually have huntsmen in training and huntresses in training joining him to actually help protect people. And so Crow tries to bring up an excuse after not even paying attention. Then RWBY has to, just kind of shrug him to say, hey, you need to listen. And he basically just states that these kids are better than a lot of the kids that were in his age whenever he was that young. Except for himself, of course. And he was trying to pump himself and make himself look good, which is pretty funny. But I love Maria's reaction to that, and that was pretty hilarious, too. She's just shaking her head like, no. It was pretty good. And Saffron then asked RWBY what they were here for, what they were going to do, and RWBY said that she was going to try to get into the Atlas military base. And Jean tells them that they didn't have any luck, that they just basically got thrown out. And so Yang goes on to say, well, how bad could it really be? And so when they make it to the military base, at the very end, you see the camera shot zoom in, and then boom. They are going to be getting in as easily as they had actually thought, and then you just see the gates just close them out. So they're going to have to figure out a plan on how to get in there. But anyways, so I'm going to give my overall thoughts here. So let's start with the animation, because I really want to talk about the fight between Maria and the assassins. So first off, I think that was actually done very well. I think that the animation is picked up more, as well as the choreography. Choreography has been good this volume for certain. The animation, now, while in Chapter 1 of Volume 6, I had issues with it being slower, Chapter 5 definitely proved to be amazing. And then here we are with Chapter 7. Now, Chapter 7, I actually like the fight. Now, I still think that Chapter 5's fight was better. Allow me to explain. So, when you watch Dio and Cinder fight, you see it be fluid and it's always going. It's always fast-paced. Now, when you're watching the fight with Maria versus the assassins and talk, at the beginning, whenever the gunshot is shot at Maria, here's the thing. She tries to deflect, but it's slowly done. But she does deflect the shot. It's not as fluid there. It's kind of slower. And from there on out, it picks up in pace. It gets faster. So that's kind of the thing. It has a bit of a slower start, but it picks up the pace. And it gets better as it goes on. But that's the thing. When it comes down to it, you want your fight to stay at the same level it started with. You want it to be fast, and you want it to maintain the speed. And that's what the Neo and Cinder fight did, as to where the speed here, it starts off slow, and then it progresses faster. So that's where I think the difference is. But the choreography was excellent all the way through. It was done very well, and it looked like the way that the human body would move and function. So while speed picks up, it does good there. It does better to pick up speed. And then, of course, the choreography is great all the way through. So I actually do like this fight, though, and I still think that it is better than Chapter 1, because Chapter 1, yes, while it has the choreography down, the speed is not really there in comparison. It is the slowest fight of the 3 that have come out in Volume 6, and it's still good for what it is, but it could be faster. It could be a faster pace, as to where Chapter 5 and Chapter 7 definitely did better on the speed of the animation. So that's where I think that this fight is not as good as Chapter 5, but it's still a good fight nonetheless. Now, I want to look at one of the story elements here. Finally having a flashback, not just saying, hey, this happened, or this is how this happened, and not showing it. It's good that we saw Maria's backstory and how she lost her eyes. I like this, because it's better than what happened in Volume 5 whenever Raven stated that, oh, the Spring Maiden, yeah, she wasn't strong enough, and so I killed her because she wasn't able to make it on her own. Because as to where that failed by only telling us and not showing us, this succeeded in how it showed us that Maria lost her eyes, how powerful she actually was at one time. It showed us this, and this is good. This is what they need to be doing whenever they're talking about, hey, look, this is what happened in the past, and then they show it. This is a plus. This is definitely a plus. This is what we needed to see. And I'm glad that they decided to actually show us Maria's past and how she lost her eyes. This is a plus, and this is good storytelling here. And I'm glad they actually worked on that. So, there's that. Talk herself had a very overpowered semblance. For 60 seconds, she's completely invulnerable. That's alright. That's crazy. Sure. I mean, she's dead now, but that's still crazy for what it was. That's pretty good. But, looking at it, I think that the Grim Reaper story, it was pretty good. Now, looking at Cinder and Neo, which to me was probably my favorite part of this entire chapter. Finally getting the two of them to work together again is great. Seeing Cinder actually tell Neo what is going on and why she needs her, and actually seeing Neo's response as if she was really debating what to do. I like this. I actually think that that was done very well. The expression on Neo's face tells you that she's actually contemplating on what she should be doing. And I really like that. And I like how Cinder is going back to her tactical thoughts of how she can get rid of her problems or plan around certain things to make it work in her favor. That's what she used to always be about, and since she's doing that again, that is excellent. I really love it. I personally have hopes for the Neo and Cinder storyline and see where they go with it, because I think it could be really good if it's written out very well. And seeing how it's been written thus far, I'm actually pleased with it. I do like what they're doing here. I like how they're treating Neo's character. I like how they're treating Cinder's character. They feel like themselves. They don't feel like they're somebody else or out of character. They feel like who they have been. And Cinder is starting to feel more like her volumes 1 through 3 character, which is good because that's when she was tactical, when she was strategic, and she would always make up good plans. I really hope that they can stick to that for her character. Now, I think that terracotta may actually be used as a way to help them get into the military base because she is a technician for the relay tower. There may be some way that she can help everybody get into the Atlas military base. So I think that there's a chance to utilize her character more here, and I think this is the opportunity they could take to use for terracotta, and I think that would be pretty good as well. So I am not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm saying it would be good to see that happen And I think would be a good way to use your character in that sense. So, looking at this overall, if I had to rate this chapter, I'd have to give it a sheer 7 because aside from the first half, it was really an average chapter. I mean, we get the whole setup with Neo and Cinder officially teaming up now, and then we get Maria Calavera's backstory as how she lost her silver eyes, and then we get a more light-hearted note, and that's really about it. There's not really a whole lot more, and we do get a little bit of lore, but aside from all that, there's not really anything too spectacular that happens after the first half. So that's why I'd have to say that I give this a 7, because it's not a bad chapter. It's pretty average. It's okay. And so I really think it was pretty good. But anyways, I'll be back again on Tuesday. Let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And share this with your friends if you found this informative or useful. Well, anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.